Load error. There aren't many tough decisions for the Flyers to make. In goal, it's Hart. Yes, he had a bad season, but Sandstrom hasn't played in the NHL and Hart had 2 strong years before this one. On the back end, they have 3 protection slots and 3 core defenders aged 25 or younger. The math is pretty simple there. But up front, there are some more intriguing decisions to make. Typically, finishing tied for first in team scoring would generally make it a safe bet that the player who did that would be protected. However, given Philadelphia's cap situation, it's far from a slam dunk for 2 of the 3 players who had 43 points this season, Giroux being a guaranteed protectee with his no-move clause. Voracek has been a fixture in the Flyers lineup for a decade with 604 points to his name in that span. He still is a big part of their top 6. However, his numbers have started to dip, and he has been only a point-per-game player once in his 13-year career. The first 3 were in Columbus. The 31-year-old also has 3 years left on his contract at a cap hit of $8.25 million. That's a particularly pricey contract in this marketplace, especially with the declining production. His contract could be deemed too expensive to entice Kraken GM Ron Francis or, if he is selected, Flyers GM Chuck Fletcher would all of a sudden have ample cap space to try to bring in a replacement. The third player who tied for the team lead in points is Van Riemsdyk. He actually had a bit of a bounce-back season while his point-per-game average, 0.77, was the highest of his career. There are similar arguments to Voracek, in that he's overpriced in this current market at $7 million through 2022-23. The 32-year-old also benefited from the power play, as 10 of his 17 goals came with the man advantage. That's a lot of money for a power play specialist, funds that could be redeployed to fill other areas on the roster. Before digging into the other decisions, let's quickly get through the other likely protectees up front. Hayes is safe with his no-move clause, while Couturier and Konechny are locks as well. When Fletcher discussed Lawton's contract extension before the trade deadline, he indicated the center would be protected. Add Giroux to this group, and that's 5 of 7 slots. The remaining 2 could go to the pricey veterans or to some younger players. Lindblom, who won the Masterton Trophy earlier this week, is also coming off a down season, his first full year back after recovering from Ewing's sarcoma. 8 goals and 6 assists in 50 games isn't a great return on a $3 million price tag, but it's also hard to evaluate him given how long he was off. To expect him to return to the form he showed the previous 2 years would have entirely been unrealistic. Does the benefit of the doubt get him protected? 4 players for 2 protection slots with cases to protect or unprotect all of them. That is basically what Fletcher's decision-making will need to be when it comes to Seattle. The Kraken have to take a minimum of 60% of the upper limit of the salary cap, which works out to $48.9 million in existing contracts, so there are bound to be some pricey players selected, and it could very well be one of Philadelphia's high-priced forwards. Both Van Riemsdyk and Voracek would give them a capable top 6 piece without an excessively long commitment while becoming a nice foundational piece to work with. If they opt for a cheaper player, Brown would seemingly become the favorite to be picked with an eye on flipping the final year at $1.8 million of his deal either before the season or at the trade deadline. Vegas picked and dealt a handful of defenders in their draft, and the Kraken may very well following a similar blueprint next month.